Healing Journey with you guys. Here we are, Healing Journey, episode 3. Today, we just gonna dive into it, man. Enough is enough. Working together towards resilience, especially after you've gone through so much trauma, tragedy, setback, painful moments. I know the last couple of episodes we've been talking about experiencing those painful moments. But I think today, baby, we're going to talk a little bit about resilience and just working together, especially as a married couple. When you go through stuff like this, being able to work together is definitely, we talked a little bit about this on the last episode, but just being able to work together, living and suffering together, also in those dark places, also being able to help one another, trying to find resilience. In other words, trying to bounce back from everything that we went through, that you may be going through.
Yeah.
It's a lot. And so when I really think about resilience, especially in our experience, I think one of the things we definitely had to overcome, and I know I had to overcome, was disappointment. Disappointment in God, disappointment in myself, disappointment in my faith, disappointment that things didn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
We had disappointment about our savings account at some point. We had disappointment about,
and still has
disappointment about, our home that we built from scratch. And, it's disappointment all over the place. And a lot of times I think it's hard for us to get over the disappointment. And that's what's blocking us from being resilient and bouncing back from the things that we need to bounce back from.
Mm-hmm.
So when I think about that, what are some of the things that during those times we experienced our setbacks and our tragic moments, what kind of help you bounce back from those things?
I think the fact that I still have goals and dreams and aspirations, and there's still so much life left to live.
Sure.
That even though something didn't necessarily work out doesn't mean that I don't have other goals and things that I aspire to do. The fact that I refuse to live my life bound and sad and depressed, and we are here for a very, very short time. Not to always bring up scripture, but that's who we are. The Bible says that life is but a vapor.
Mm-hmm.
That you're here 1 minute and you're gone the next. That's scripture. Life is but a vapor, that we just evaporate like that. And also just having seen and experienced so much loss over the past few years, pretty much with COVID, so many people died. Not necessarily people who were close to us, but so many people lost their lives. And for me, that was like a huge reality check. Like, man, life can just be just like that, be gone. And I refuse to live this little bit of time that we have, this little vapor of time, sad and frustrated and disappointed and mad and depressed. I don't want to live my life like that. I want to live this life full of joy, full of hope, full of peace. I want to be a light to those around me. I want to be a light to my children. And I want to help them get to where they gotta go. And I can't necessarily do that bitter and sad and negative. And I don't want to be that person. I want, I want to live a good life, a healthy life, a happy life.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, it's hard overcoming disappointment sometimes, especially when you're trying to do things the right way, or you are doing things the right way and things just didn't work out. And whatever way that may be for anybody, I know when I started church, obviously it's, the ending didn't work out the way we desired for it to be, but we did accomplish something. We did acknowledge the fact. And I think that was the biggest thing that I had to learn during that process too, is that because I was so disappointed at, what happened, I didn't think about how much I accomplished, how much we accomplished collectively, how much effort we made, how much the people who supported us helped us accomplish during the journey. And I just think that oftentimes when you're disappointed, you don't look at all the things that you've done along the way. And I think that's how we get ourselves in trouble, is that things get so negative and we just focus so on the negative and we just look at everything that's so negative, and the little stuff that, and some of the big stuff that we did, we don't even acknowledge that because we're so mad and disappointed with God, with ourselves, with the situation. And sometimes I think what God is trying to help us do is point us back to the fact that, hey, even though you're mad with everything that you've done, or you're even mad at me, look at what you accomplished. Look at what I did through you. Like you said, so that you can move on to the next thing. So you can move on to the next purpose in life. So you can move on to the next destination that, or the goals or the dreams that you desire to do, because man, you're not dead. Like if you ain't dead, you got a lot more to do. And so one of the things that I'm learning even in this season of life, that a lot of our trauma wasn't for our destruction in life. It wasn't for us to die and give up. It wasn't for us to leave everything behind and put everything on the shelf so that, you know what, I went through all these tragic things, I'm done. Nothing else left in me. We talk about this all the time. There's so much more left inside of us. And now we can use this story, our stories, these tragic moments, to even share a greater story to others about how you can still push forward past the disappointment, and how you still got so much left inside, how we got so much left inside of us in our marriage, with our children, with our life, with us desiring to go and traveling and just doing so many things. We still got a lot left. And that's what I just want to make sure that we understand, and those who are watching understand, that whatever you've been disappointed by, whether it's been by the fact that you lost your job, or things didn't work out in your marriage, or things didn't work out with your kids, your children, or just in life itself, you still got a lot left to do.
Yeah. I think that we sometimes get caught up in what we wanted it to look like, or that we hoped that it looked like, that if it looked in any way, shape, or form different than that, then it wasn't successful, or it wasn't good, or it didn't go the way that we hoped it to go. But we have to celebrate those little wins. We have to celebrate the fact that we made it. We did something, and we did make an impact. We did help people. We did feed people. We did allow people to be able to take showers, who some of those people hadn't taken showers in months and weeks and days. We were able to help do that. That's huge. Can you imagine? Like, for us, we take showers on a daily basis. It's a part of our normal routine. But can you imagine if you didn't have the ability to shower, and then all of a sudden you got a shower? Like, I remember one of the ladies that came to the Hope Center taking her shower, and I remember her being in there for so long. And when she came out, I was like, girl, you were in there for a long time. And she was like, girl, I have not taken a shower in so long. It was just so nice to feel the water running down my body. That is huge for people. We take those things for granted. But the fact that the Hope Center was able to give that experience and that opportunity to that lady, we should celebrate that.
And that's where I think enough is enough, where you got to get into a place where you're like, man, I just had enough of sitting in this disappointment. I had enough sitting in this anger and this pain. Let me think about what I did accomplish, what I did succeed in, what I need to grow from, where I need to develop. Because I think even in all of that, we're still searching for where is God in all this, right? And we're trying to figure out, we've gone through this disappointment in life. Okay, God, what's next? Where are you at in all this? What am I supposed to do next? And I think that's one of the things I was challenged with when I was at the church situation, trying to figure out, okay, God, what's next? Because when you're trying to work together to move to resilience and bounce back and to move forward, and you're just tired of just being mad and depressed and disappointed, you're trying to figure out, okay, God, where are you in all this? How can I move forward?
Right there.
And yeah, that's what he's saying. I'm right here. I was with you in the pain. I was with you through the trauma. I'm going to be with you here to the end, through the beginning, through the middle, all the stuff, And so when I think about that, there was so much of a blessing with that story you just mentioned with the lady who took a shower. And that's where I think we miss it a lot of times, where we're not looking at that piece of, you know what? God was in the moment where I had the opportunity to give this lady for months who hadn't washed or used
She hadn't
soap,
washed her hair. She was
anything.
talking about how her hair was dirty.
We gave her opportunity to do that. That's where God
And then
is.
we gave her an outfit to put
And
on.
outfit. That's where God was in that. And so even though we lost it, as I've said tons of times, even when you lose, you still win. That was a win for us, even through the loss of the Hope Center.
She was excited about underwear.
And so that gives me now somewhat of a gratitude to be like, you know what? Man, if I was able to do that, what can I do next? Like if I was able to help somebody in that capacity, what do you have for me next, God? And
I think that's part of the reason why we're here, airing out our business, because we're almost addicted to helping people.
Yeah.
We want to see people win, and we don't believe that we have gone through through these things, or that we go through things just for ourselves. Yeah. We feel like if we can get victory in this situation, if we feel like we can overcome this situation or win this situation, then you can win too. Yeah, and so that's why we're here. Yeah. We literally want to see people win. And I think that's part of what pushes us too, is that we get excited about the possibility that, man, I got through that. I can help somebody else get through that too. Yeah. So let me share. Let me do what I can to help somebody else.
Yeah, and you gotta want to win for yourself too.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta want to win for yourself.
If you don't want to win for yourself, there's not much we can do to help you. We can try to encourage you and motivate you, but you have to do the work yourself.
There's a lot of help around us, but we gotta want to win for ourselves. And that's, again, where enough is enough, where you got to get to a place where you say, I want to win.
I can't even do this no more.
I want to win again. I don't want to sit here.
Sad.
It's tired of being sad. And don't get me wrong, it's all right to lose. This is taboo in our culture that we feel like it's not okay. It's okay to lose. Like, you might need to lose. Fantasia said, you might have to lose to win again. Come on, man. That's what I'm saying. And so what I'm saying in this moment is that sometimes you got to realize that, I lost. Good. How's this loss going to help me win now? How's this going to make me be able to come back and do something even better now?
When you think about some of the most successful people, and I'm talking about successful, I'm talking about Oprah Winfrey, Tyler Perry, all of those types of people, their story starts with them failing over and over and over and over and over again. Until they just got to the point where they continued to push and was like, I gotta win. Like, I have to win. And once you have that mindset, like, enough is enough, I have to keep pushing forward, you will win.
Yeah, you gonna win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the thing that I think we miss, is that when we're in this journey of searching where God is in the midst of all this stuff that has taken place in our life, I think we miss that God is in the losses and He's in the wins. He's in the places where we're uncertain, and when we're certain, He's in the places where He's
and in the valleys.
He's
always
everywhere,
with us.
in every place. And so, we might have felt distance from God, and we might have felt like He abandoned us, but He was always there. He was always present.
And He promises us that even when we go through difficult situations, He didn't promise us that we would not go through difficult situations, but when we go through difficult situations, He is with us, and we have to remember that.
And I struggled with that for a while, because, and here it is, I'm a study the Bible, I got a degree in that, all that stuff, and as a pastor, and then after all that stuff happened in my life after the church, I struggled with that. Like, okay, God, I know your word says you'll be there to support me, right? You don't seem like you support me. And I feel some of y'all, I feel you. I know some of you are like, I hear what you guys are saying, but it don't seem like God is helping me and He's with me in this valley or this trauma I'm going through right now, because, first, why would He allow it? Second, if He's with me, why won't He just change all the stuff that I'm going through, right? And sometimes He's not looking to change the stuff that we're going through. Sometimes He's looking to allow that. He's
looking to change you, and allowing that situation to make you into the person that
you need to become.
Exactly.
And I think oftentimes we forget. Like when I think about my daughter, and you think about our daughters, we tell them no a lot of times.
Yeah.
Even when we tell them no at times where they're like, I don't understand why they're telling me no, it don't make sense. This makes sense to them as kids. Like
sometimes we say no when we want to say yeah because we feel like it's in their
why
best
can't
interest.
you just do this? Why, mommy? Why, daddy? Oh, because this is in your best interest. I know what's best for you. Right. And that's how God works with us, right? I'm not going to give my daughter the keys to the car to drive at her age right now. At 13, she can't drive.
No.
And when she does start driving, I'm still gonna have to be right there beside her, trying to teach her the routes to go and how she's gonna be able to drive and all that stuff. And then when I'm not there with her and she get in an accident or something happens, she's probably gonna call us and say, hey, something's happened. So what I'm saying is that even through all of that, there's growth, there's development, and if I can still be there for my daughter, God got to still be there for us.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And who in the world do we think that we are that we have to tell our children no? We have to teach them.
But God can't tell us no.
Right, but God can't tell us no. We have a hissy fit if God tells us no. If God tells us not yet, if God tells us to wait, or God tells us no, we want to have a fit. But when we think about our relationship as earthly parents to our children, you can't say yeah to everything. Yeah. Can y'all imagine as parents, my parents out there, if every single thing your child asked you for, you said yes? And not all of those things are necessarily bad. Yeah. It just means that sometimes we got to say no. What is so wrong with God telling us, his children, he's our father? No, not yet, baby. Or I have to punish you, or you're going to have to go through this difficult time because I'm trying to teach you something. I think sometimes as parents, as we're trying to help mature our children, we realize we can't save them and rescue them from every single thing, that we have to let them navigate life so that it builds something in them. It builds maturity. It builds perseverance. It builds intelligence. And God is the same way with us. He's a good father. So as a good father, he can't always tell us yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's really hard when we receive no from God when it's something that we really love, right? When we something we really, really are passionate about, or a loved one that we are deeply not wanting to separate. It's hard when you lose a loved one through a tragedy or something, and you're like, God, why you take my spouse or my children, because you love those individuals.
Yeah,
and you're
that's
like,
rough.
Can you please give them back to me, right? And God's like, no. And that's hard to understand and wrap around your head, wrap around your mind. Like, God, why would you take this sort of life from me? Or if you lost a job that was taking care of you, your home, you can't even pay your bills no more. And you're like, God, are you going to help me right now? No, not right now. It's hard to wrap your head around that. But like you said, what I'm realizing is that, I've said this for years and I keep believing in this, that every no that we receive, either in life or by God, there has to be an outcome of a yes. Somewhere in it, God is building a yes in us in some capacity. Whether that is a yes in, hey, you will find another job, or whether it's a yes, the reason I allowed you to lose your job is for you to use that entrepreneurship niche you got, or that creative idea that you got, put it to work and let it work for you. Or whether that is that I lost my dear loved one, and at the end of the day, I lost that dear loved one, Lord, and I won't ever give them back, but there was something that you learn from that experience that you want to carry on their legacy and build and experience upon what you might have missed out with them, and you might want to experience with somebody else, or the benefit of being able to share that with the world and let them know that if I can overcome this situation where I lost a beautiful loved one, and I can continue to move, operate, and do the things that I'm able to do in life, what can you not do in life? There got to be something in that where you find yourself being able to share your story with somebody else and let them know that they can still be resilient after all that you've lost. And I know that's what we're doing here. Like, all the losses we had, we're still telling people that they still can move forward. And that's a part of God's story too. That at the end of the day, there was a lot of things that God even sacrificed for us. And we still can you imagine if God was like, you know what? Y'all have done so much against me. Y'all done so much against what I've told you to do. You've been so disobedient. You guys are, even in this world now, there's so much going on. And can you imagine God saying, I'm just done with y'all. I'm tired. I don't got enough left for you.
Please don't, Lord.
I don't got enough left.
Don't give up on me.
I'm quitting on y'all. That would be a tragedy to us. But our story, his story, we all can resonate together to be able to help people realize that you got a lot left in you. And that's the thing, man. If I don't do anything else in this world, or if I got anything left to offer the world, which I do know I got a lot left, I want to let people know that at the end of the day, you got so much love inside of you.
Yeah.
And if you allow it to die and then put on the shelf because of a tragic moment, you'll never get to be able to see what God put you here to do on this earth, because we're going to go, ain't no way you're going to be able not to avoid some tragedy in life. Something's going to hit your life and you're going to have to work through it.
I think I mentioned this to my dad the other day, is like, we all got to die.
Yeah.
Like, we all got to go. So we're all going to experience some type of tragedy. We're all going to experience some type of, this or that. Something that I think really helped me when I was dealing with my anxiety is you had told me, you was like, babe, but even if, guys, a lot of my anxiety comes around me passing while my kids are still little. That's where the bulk of my anxiety comes from. And you were telling me, okay, so like, even if something was wrong with you and you were going to die next week, would you want to live your life laying in the bed, bound by fear and anxiety? Or would you want to live your life sharing it with the people that you love and spending time with your girls and spending time with the people that you love? And I'm like, absolutely, spending time with the people that I love. And that's the bottom line. We don't know how long we're going to be here. Yeah. So let's live our lives loving on the people that love us. Let's live our lives loving on the people that we love, instead of being fearful, instead of being anxious, instead of being disappointed, instead of being frustrated, instead of being hurt, instead of being, bitter, whatever the situation may be. Let's live our lives poured out. Like, it could be our last. We don't know.
And I think about my daughter all the time. Like, I could see how easily it would be for her with a chronic disease as a type 1 diabetic to want to easily just give up, because every time I got to eat, I got to give myself insulin. Every 3 days, I got to change this. Every 7 days, I got to change this. It's always something that I got to deal with. Highs, lows. Do I feel well? Do I not feel well? And you're always going through that emotion every single day. At some point, you might be like, man, I'm tired of living like this. But I see her thrive every day. Like, she don't let that stop her. And so that lets me know that she's resilient in her thoughts and her mind. And she knows that, like, she's telling us about her future and what she wants to do, right? Yeah, so for her to be able to endure that and yet still see a future for herself, that speaks volumes to me. So that lets me know, okay, Jesse, I ain't got no chronic disease.
You can keep moving.
I can keep moving forward too.
All right.
It's just stuff like that we just got to be mindful of. Like, even in your marriage, if you feel like, man, this dynamic ain't working in our marriage, don't let that stop you from finding a way to resolve whatever it is that you're going through. Because if you got together for a reason, right? You got together because you wanted to be together in some aspect. Sometimes I feel like couples don't find the one thing that might have glued them together, and that may be the one piece of resilience they need to bounce back from what they're going through. But because you're going through all this chaos, and because things ain't working the way you want it, or we're being selfish, nobody's considering, man, what have we achieved? What have we done together as a couple? Mm-hmm. What can we lean on that we've accomplished during this time of our marriage to keep pushing forward on? Because it's easy to give up. It's easy to get a divorce. It's easy. I mean, divorce is not easy. It's painful. Yeah. It's painful, but it's easy to say, hey, let's get a divorce and let's go through that process, right? Mm-hmm. Rather than trying to work it out, because I'm just tired of trying to work it out. And I feel like you gotta fight. You gotta fight for what's yours, what belongs to you. And if you're unwilling to fight, if you're unwilling to say enough is enough, at some point, you probably are gonna just be like, you know what, I'm good. Yeah. But I hope not, because you got a lot left inside of you. We got a lot left inside of us, and it could have been easy for us just to been like, you know what, good, all this stuff. Let's just pack it up and be done, because it ain't worth it. But I think at the end of the day, you find, and we have found out, that the more, and it's crazy, because when you think about it, there's so many people over our time of our lives who've said, obviously just keep moving forward and keep pushing through. And I promise you, when you get to the other side, you'll see that it was worth it. And sometimes you don't feel that way, especially when you're going through it. But we can definitely attest to the fact that on the other end, there's something left worth fighting.
That reminds me of something that the lady at the diabetes center had said to us. I think it was our second visit there. We were getting onto the elevator, getting off to the elevator, and I'm sure you and I were just looking like defeated. And, you know, she was asking us questions about Jayla, and I said to her, yeah, it's been rough. And she said, yeah, but life goes on. I was so offended by that. I was so mad that lady said. I was mad for a long time. I could not believe that lady had summed up basically all the most pain that I have ever experienced up until that point to, but life goes on. Yeah. But at the same time, as I started to process it and really think about what she had said, she was 100% right. Yeah. Life had to keep going on.
So good.
Like if we would have just decided to stay in the depression and stay in the defeat and stay in the frustration and stay in the pain that we felt after Jayla was diagnosed and not have this mindset that we got to push forward. Life got to continue to go on. Where in the world would we be today? Yeah. Like it was so freeing. She was like, yeah, but life goes on. I don't think she meant it the way that I eventually broke it down, but it was I felt so disrespected, but no truer words had ever been spoken up until that point. Life goes on.
And I think that is amazing. That's like that's golden. And as a chaplain in a hospital, you meet so many people. And when you walk into these rooms with individuals who are in obviously on their deathbed, or they are going through cancer, or they're going through chemo, or they're going through whatever it may be, this illness, I meet so many people and their words to me is, I'm pushing forward. I got to move forward. I still got a lot to live in life. Or they're telling me, you know what? If anything, at the end of the day, if anything, I'm just glad that I'm alive today.
I'm here today.
I'm here today. Yeah. And that's the thing I think. I'm like, man, they're grateful. And they sit in this bed and their life is in shambles right now. And I walk away from that moment, obviously thinking that I'm trying to go in and try to help encourage them. But they're ending up encouraging you when you walk out the door, realizing that, man, I'm able to walk out of this room while you still laying in the bed trying to figure out if you still have enough life to live. And you're trying to remind me that, hey, I still got today to live. Yeah. And so I think we get frustrated a lot of times about people telling us that in our darkest moments, that, because I know I have, you get frustrated by people saying that, oh, it'll be all right, you'll get through it. And you're like, no, this don't feel like I'm gonna get through anything. This is terrible. But you will get through it, I promise you. It's hard to hear when you're going through it, but it makes more sense to us now more than ever that when you do go through these circumstances of life where there are tragic moments that you can't seem to shake off you, right? Mm-hmm. It just seems to me how when you go through that journey, that healing journey, that you find that there's pieces along the way that you pick up, that you add to your development of life. And then when it's over with, or sometimes it's not over with, you're just still going through the process year by year to continue your healing. You're always picking up a lesson, or you're always picking up something to be able to encourage somebody else you're going to meet. That lady had
encourage yourself at a later time.
That lady probably had to walk through something in life, saw us in shambles, and realized that when she had went through what she went through and met us in the hospital, seeing us in shambles, she knew what it was to experience that. Mm-hmm. But she couldn't tell us that unless she had went through something herself. Yeah. And that's the lesson, that you can't really give that advice to encourage people and help them realize that in their darkest moment that they can overcome it unless you go through it yourself. So some of the stuff we go through ain't just for ourselves. It really is for other people. Even though we may not want to hear that, but that's the truth. There may be a purpose that God placed inside of you that's way deeper than you can see yourself. And at the end of the day, you went through that tragedy. And once you overcame that tragedy, you realize that, man, this is what I'm really supposed to be doing right now. This is who I'm really supposed to be talking to. Here's the healing that needs to happen in my life, because I'm going to be able to add this into the world. And it's going to be an answer to solve some kind of problem, some kind of solution in the world. And that's why you can't give up on yourself, man. That's why you can't quit. That's why you can't just sit in the torment of life Yeah, sometimes you will have to live through the suffering. But man, some days you gotta tell yourself it's enough, and let's bounce back. Let's move forward. Let's find a way to be able to be an answer to somebody's problem because I ain't go through all this for just to go through it.
Yeah.
And that's just the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever you're going through, man, I hope that you find a way to say it's enough is enough. Work towards your resilience. If you're a couple, work together to be resilient because you can find that working together, man, is better than you trying to work by yourself. And if you got somebody on your team to help you, man, work with that person. Find resilience. And if not, at the end of the day, find just the hope in yourself to want to win for you, man. Some of y'all just need to hear that. Just win for yourself.
Win for you.
If you can't win for you, man, you can't win for nobody. So win for yourself. And
absolutely.
Hey, resilience is on the way for you, man. So listen, let's keep this healing journey going. We got a lot more. Again, we're going to be giving you as much as we can to share our truth, our story, but also to share as much lessons and much stories of resilience and overcoming that as we can. But also let you know that the process along the way, sometimes it is difficult, but you can get through it. And so that's what we're here to help you through. And so let's heal together, man. As you already know, we want to be a part of this journey with you. So until next time, we'll see you.